Today was the deadline on the subpoena for the Justice Department to hand over any of the counterintelligence information that was turned up by the Robert Mueller investigation. The Justice Department, as of today, appears to be defying that subpoena. Or at least they're not handing anything over. Congressman Adam Schiff, the head of the Intelligence Committee, did a sort of bombshell interview with the Washington Post today in which he suggested that the counterintelligence investigation that was announced by James Comey in the spring of 2017, that counterintelligence investigation into potential links between the Russian government and their interference effort and people associated with the Trump campaign, Schiff suggesting in this interview today that that counterintelligence investigation appears to have disappeared. And he and the rest of the Intelligence Committee, at least, have not been able to get any information out of the Justice Department or the FBI as to whatever happened to that investigation, whether it continued, whether it was cut off, or what any of its findings were. In defying that subpoena to hand over any counterintelligence information turned up by Mueller, the Justice Department today also appears to be defying that subpoena by that same committee to hand over the unredacted version of Mueller's report and to hand over its underlying evidence. And it's one thing to refuse a request. It's another thing to refuse a subpoena. We will see what the result of that is, but this appears to be the Justice Department, again, standing in defiance of a lawful congressional subpoena. So we'll see how that resolves. It, in the short term, puts an even hotter spotlight on the question of whether or not Robert Mueller himself will testify to Congress about his findings and about his investigation. There continues to be this strange ambiguity around this seemingly simple question of whether or not Mueller's going to testify. The continuing ambiguity around that question has led some observers to question whether the ultimate aim here might not be just to get Robert Mueller alone testifying to Congress, but instead to get Robert Mueller and his team from the special counsel's office, testifying together as a unit as to what they discovered in their investigation and what they did and what they turned up and what they didn't investigate, which is now becoming an even more interesting question. Both Jerry Nadler, chairman of Judiciary, and Adam Schiff, chairman of Intelligence, both, as of today, making sort of increasingly urgent public claims about that expected testimony from Mueller and or his team. But still no apparent movement from the Justice Department on allowing that to happen. So that is still pending, still out there. On top of all that today, the White House counsel sent this remarkable letter to Congress, making clear that the Trump White House position is that they really are planning just to defy all subpoenas. 1 year of Watergate is enough. You must stop investigating. No witnesses will be made available. No testimony will be provided. No documents will be handed over. Nothing. This is their official stance in writing now from the White House counsel. We saw the president's private lawyers, counsel for the president that have been hired to try to keep his taxes and his finances secret. We saw those lawyers make basically that same argument yesterday in court in the oral arguments in the Mazars case. That's where the president's lawyers are arguing that the Oversight Committee can't rightfully subpoena financial information about the president from his accounting firm. There was that, sort of strange hearing in court yesterday when, to the judge's astonishment, the president's lawyers argued bluntly that across the board, Congress has no right to investigate a president for alleged corruption or any alleged crimes. The judge appeared to be plainly astonished by that claim from the president's lawyers yesterday in the Mazars case, but they apparently are going with that as their argument, both in court and as their political argument, including from the White House counsel today. It's the same grounds on which the White House counsel today said he would refuse to hand over any witnesses or any testimony at all in any congressional investigation. I mean, this... Stepping back from this a second, this does mean that we are now already at the point in the Trump presidency where between him and William Barr and his White House counsel, Trump really could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, like he said during the campaign, and not only get away with it, but nobody could even investigate it. I mean, remember when Trump said that during the campaign? I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and nobody would leave. I would get away with... I mean, think about that. The Attorney General now asserts bluntly that the president cannot be criminally charged. The Attorney General also asserts that if the president can't be criminally charged, that then he can't be criminally investigated either. The Attorney General also says that if the Justice Department is investigating the president and the president believes that's bad, if the president believes that's wrong, that he's been wrongly accused, he definitely didn't do anything wrong, nobody should be looking at me, that's grounds enough for the president to end that investigation and fire the investigator. And now, both the president's private lawyers and the White House counsel and the Justice Department, in defying these subpoenas, they are all arguing one way or another that Congress has no right to investigate the president for corruption or other crimes at all. So if you can't be charged, you can't be investigated. Anybody who does start investigating you, you can fire. And oh, by the way, Congress can't investigate you either. I mean, you really could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone. I mean, I don't know what we, the rest of the country, are supposed to do with this new revelation about this view of the presidency. I guess stay off Fifth Avenue. But also, you know, look on the bright side. If you have ever personally had truly epic, truly wicked criminal ambitions for yourself, now you know what the job is for you. I mean, if you were so lucky as to get elected president, you could not only, by definition, not commit any crimes, you could not be charged, you could not be investigated. You'd be the freest criminal on earth if you were lucky enough to be elected president of the United States, and if you had Attorney General William Barr working for you. So, I mean, clearly that's not the way America is set up, right? That's what they're trying to argue now. Clearly that's untenable. But it just means that we are in an untenable situation right now, which means there will be change. We've got these assertions from the White House. We've got these subpoenas from Congress. We've got the judiciary now getting involved in the first time, trying to handle these remarkable claims from the White House about how they are immune from all scrutiny. But that's where we are. Mark this moment in history. That's where we are.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.